How did I resist a terrorist? The story takes place in 1999, so it was 2 years before 9/11. I was a young student in a fairly big city in France, in Strasbourg, and I was, at the time there were no phone, no mobile really. So when you had to use a phone, you had to use a card, prepaid card, and go to a phone booth, and then you can make your call. So I was making a call outside in one of those booths when someone came, and he told me, yeah, I'm looking for a job. I need to make a phone call to check if I got the job or not. He showed me his paper, proving me that indeed I was applying for a job. So I saw his name and everything. So at the time I was a bit naive and very helpful, so I gave him my card. He had the phone call and he didn't get the news he wanted. So he was very upset. And he came back to me and wanted to keep using my card. And I said, no, look, I already helped you. That's enough now. I need to go. And so he started to get more angry, more upset. And he said, what? How did you help me? You didn't help me, blah, blah, blah. So kept ranting and becoming more and more aggressive. Then he was saying stuff like, well, you will see, we'll put bombs in the market in Strasbourg, so forth and so forth. And he started to grab my wrists, and can I show you? So he grabbed my wrist, and at the time I was doing some karate. It was called Shotokan, so it's a bit rigid and not very good for self-defense, but still I learned a trick or two. So when he grabbed my two wrists, I did something like that, very quick, to break on the weak point where you've got the thumb that cannot hold very, very strongly. So I escaped like that, my two wrists, and I started to run, to sprint far, as quickly as possible. And I saw that he couldn't follow, so he started running, but it stopped very quickly. So I was, let's say, safe. I don't know what he wanted to do, just punch me or whatever. Anyway, I escaped. And then, when I was back home in the evening, I made a phone call to the police, to report him, because I knew his name. And the policeman at the time, he couldn't really care. He'd say, oh, okay, thank you, and that's it. So I don't know what they did with the information. I think, so after a few years later, obviously, terrorism was a bigger thing because of 9/11. And I think that even a few years later, there was a terrorist plot that was stopped before it happened. And I think it was targeting the market in Strasbourg. So, yeah, so this shows you that in self-defense, the best defense is escape, to run as fast as you can. It makes sense because we're on a running channel after all. And if really you have to fight, the best thing is to do some front kick, very, very simple, low and direct. Don't waste time, don't try to do anything fancy or too high. And so do your push kick, or maybe a side kick, and then you run away. Don't try to finish the fight, you don't know who is behind you and so forth. So yeah, the best way is to run. Because even if you win and something happened to the guy, then you go to jail, and that's not good neither. And very easy for you to kill someone. Just imagine you punch him, he falls on the ground and bump his head. That's it. So the only real choice that makes sense, if you can, is to run away.